8th standard. Open your books, page number 21, chapter number 2, The Shoemaker. In this chapter, the setting shifts from Dover, England to Saint Antoine, a poor suburb of Paris. A wine cask fails to payment in the street and everyone rushes to it. Men kneel and scoop up to the wine and has pulled in the paving stones, while women sop up the liquid with handkerchiefs and drink them into the mouths of their babies. One man dips his finger into the muddled wine lees and scrawls the word blood on the wall. The wine shop, owned by Monsieur Darface, a bull-necked and martial-looking man of 30. His wife, Madame Darface, sits solemnly behind the counter, watchful of everything that goes around her. She signals to her husband as he enters the wine shop, alerting him to presence of an elderly gentleman and a young lady. Defarge's eyes thus strange they are Laurie and Lucy, but pretends not to notice them, speaking instead with them three familiar customers, each of whom refers to other who as Jacques, a code name that identifies themselves to one another as revolutionaries. After Defarge directs the men to a chamber on the 5th floor and sends them out, Mr. Lorry approaches from the corner and begs a word with Defarge. The men have a brief conversation and soon Defarge and sends them out. Mr. Lorry approaches from the corner and begs for a word of Defarge. The men have a brief conversation and soon Defarge leads Lorry and Lucy up a steep, dangerous rise of stairs. They come to a filthy landing where the three men from the wine shop stand staring through chinks in the wall, stating that he makes a show of Dr. Manette to a chosen few whom the sight is likely to do good. Defarge opens the door to reveal a white-haired man busily making shoes. Now the Manette reports in voice grown faint with the solitude and disuse, and that he is making a lady's shoe in the present mode or fashion. Even though he has never seen the present fashion, when asked his name, he responds 105 North Tower. Then Lucy approaches, noticing her radiant golden hair. Manette opens a knot of rag that he wears around his neck, in which he keeps a stand of similarly golden colors. A first Manette mistakes Lucy for his wife and recalls that on the first day of his imprisonment, he begged to be allowed to keep these few stray hairs of his wife's as a means of escaping his circumstances. In these spirits, Lucy delivers an impassioned speech, imploring her father to keep if her voice or her hair recalls a loved one whom he once knew. She hints him to hymns of home that awaits him and assures him that his agony is over. Manette collapses under a storm of emotion. Then Lucy urges that arrangement be made for his immediate departure for England, fearing for Manette's health. Laurie protests, but Lucy insists that travel guarantees more safety than a continued stay in Paris. Defarge agrees and ushers the group into a coaches. It is English to class, chapter 3rd, the trial. So in it, there is a travel through France proves difficult for Darnay. Hostile revolutionaries frequently stop him and question him upon his arrival in Paris. The revolutionaries confine him to a prison called La Force. Darnay protests and reminds his jailers of his rights. However, the guard responds that as an emigrant, Darnay, whom he refers to as an everymonde, has no rights. The guard hands Darnay over to the Defarge with the instructions in secret as he is being led away. Darnay converses with the wine merchant. Defarge wonders aloud why Darnay would choose to return to France in the age of that sharp female newly born called La Guillotine. Darnay asks Defarge for help, but Defarge refuses. At LaForce, Darnay feels he was entered the world of death. A fellow prisoner welcomes him to the prison and says that he hopes that Darnay will not be kept in secret, the anglicized form of an secret meaning solitary confinement, but Darnay has indeed been sentenced to social isolation and he soon finds himself in cell measuring 5 paces by 4.5. After it, Lucy and Dr. Manette storm into the Paris branch of Tellson Banks to find Mr. Lorry. They inform him that Darnay sits imprisoned in LaForce. Manette remains confident that he can use his standing as one-time prisoner of Bastille to help rescue his son-in-law. Lorry sends Lucy into the back room of the bank so that he can speak to Manette in private. He and Manette look out into the courtyard where throngs of people sharpen their weapons as on a grindstone. Lorry explains that the mob is preparing to kill the prisoners. Manette rushes into the crowd and soon a cry arises, "Help for Bastille prisoners kindred in LaForce." So, fearing that Lucy and Manette's presence might compromise the bank's business, Lorry ushers Lucy, her daughter, and Miss Pross to a nearby lodging. He leaves Jerry Cruncher to guard them back at the Tellsons. Defarges approaches Lorry with the message from Manette. Following Manette's instructions, Lorry leads Defarge to Lucy. Defarge claims that the Madame Defarge must accompany them as she will familiarize herself with the faces of the Lucy, her daughter, and Miss Pross in order to better protect them into the future. The woman knows as the vengeance also comes upon arriving at the lodging. Defarge gives Lucy a note from the imprisoned Darnay. It urges her to take courage, turning to Madame Defarge. Lucy begs her to show Darnay some mercy, but Madame Defarge coldly responds that revolution will not stop for the sake of Lucy or her family. After it, 4 days later, Manette returns from LaForce. Lorry notes a change in once fragile Manette, who now seems full of strength and power. Manette tells him that he has persuaded the tribunal, a self-disappointed body. He tries and sentences the revolution prisoners to keep Darnay alive. Moreover, he has secured a job as the inspecting physician of 3 prisons, one of which is LaForce. These duties will enable him to ensure Darnay's safety. Time passes and France rages as though in a fever. The revolutionaries behead the king and queen, and the guillotine becomes a fixture in the Paris streets. Darnay remains in prison for years and 3 months. Now, while the family waits for Darnay's trial, Manette tells Lucy of a window in the prison from which Darnay might see her in the street for 2 hours every day. Lucy stands in area visible from this window. A woodsire who walks nearby talks with Lucy while she waits, pretending that his saw is a guillotine. It's bears the inscription, "The Little Saint Guillotine," and each piece of wood that he cut off the head of the prisoner. One day a throng of people come down the street dancing a horrible and violent dance known as the Carmagnole. The dancers depart, and the distressed Lucy now sees her father standing before her. As he comforts Lucy, Madame Defarge happens by. She and Manette exchange salutes. Manette then tells Lucy that her husband tells Lucy that Darnay will stand trial and on the following day, and assures her that her husband will fare well in it. This is all about the chapter number 3. If there will be any doubt, you can ask in the comment section box. Thanks and have a nice day.